What is up, everyone? Ryan right here, War Room Media. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you want to support our efforts, thewarroomnewsletter.com. You can go there, sign up for free to get our newsletter, or I'll put a link below and you can get a discount if you want to be a paying subscriber. It's $10 a month, $100 for the year. I think I'll even throw a 20% off below. Thank you so much. Okay, let's talk about this. This is, and to me, there's three levels primarily with China. There's Taiwan, there's the Uyghurs, and there's Hong Kong. Now, of course, you have supply chains and all kinds of other stuff, but I try to break it into these three parts because some of the other stuff is a little bit more technical and a little bit harder to get into on a day-to-day basis. How do you move a supply chain from China to India? Well, there's a lot involved with that. These three issues are kind of they're not bite-sized as far as how important they are, but they're a little bit easier to digest and to follow along. So here's what I'm looking at. Yesterday, day before yesterday, Monday, I guess it is, that China rejects, see here, China rejects charge in Xinjiang that says that the UN is open to come investigate the Uyghurs. Now, this is important because the Uyghur issue is one of the issues that we have. So we have Taiwan, we have the Uyghurs, and we have Hong Kong, right? So Taiwan is kind of a separate issue. It's out here, it's on an island. We have to deal with that one way. Hong Kong is a tough issue to navigate. I don't think there's a whole lot the U.S. can do there. The Uyghurs is interesting because, well, I don't know. We can sanction, we can tariff, we can do stuff like that, but one thing we can do, you, me, and everyone else, is talk about this issue to make it to where U.S. companies, international companies, will not go to China or not work in Xinjiang province because of this issue. They will not use slave labor. And so that is the thing that we need to make sure that we're constantly pressing this issue. Now, China says, no, there is no genocide. There is no forced labor. You, UN, can come and see. Let's go back. At the end of the Trump administration, and here we go. At the end of the Trump administration, Pompeo called what's happening to the Uyghurs a genocide. And that's important. Now, Joe Biden had said on the campaign trail, I believe in August or maybe it was September of last year, that he thought it was a genocide. So it's not necessarily new, but it didn't put the burden on the Biden administration to say that. And that's important because, as we all know, to be the first one to do something is a lot harder than keeping the status quo. I'm not saying whether Biden would have done it or would not have done it. The fact is he didn't have to do it thanks to Pompeo and Trump administration. Now, Blinken comes out and says, we are going to uphold this. This is what we think is going on. And so you have that. So you have the Biden administration is keeping what we'll call the status quo here, not to be derogatory, but just calling that. Then you have the UN. Now, this is where the story gets interesting. China is on the Human Rights Council at the UN, which means they get a lot of special privileges that they shouldn't get if they're a human rights violator, which the UN and a lot of folks are actually accusing them of being. So it's kind of ironic. It's not new for the UN. The UN is basically a worthless organization, for lack of a better term, but it's what we got right now. Okay, so China rejects the charge of genocide and says the door is open. Come look. Come investigate. Here is what's going to happen. Michael Malice tells a wonderful story about North Korea. North Korea, back in the 90s, maybe invited the UN, I believe it was, to come look. And they're supposed to see three different sites. And they took them to site 1, looked around, site 2, looked around, site 3, looked around. Except for site 3 was site 1, I believe, or maybe site 2. And the UN inspectors were like, hey, we're back at site 1. And they're like, no, you're not. Like, yeah, I'm pretty sure this is site 1. No, you're not. And so they just kind of blew them off. And next thing you know, that was the end of it. So when China says it's opening its doors, the question is, what does that actually mean? Is this going to be something where you can hop on a plane today and be out with the Uyghur population by, what's today, Thursday, by Saturday? Or does this mean you got to take 3-4 weeks, a few months? They can move people around. They can reposition folks. When they say you can go wherever you want to, you can go wherever you want to or not. Also, the thing that should be kept in mind here is that we have satellite technology that can take pictures of all that's going on, right? So it's not like we can't track this stuff if we really wanted to. Yet China says, come on. Now, the thing to keep in mind, and this is what China is a master at as far as messaging goes. This is from, I don't know who, Wang, maybe it must be the UN representative. China is a country that has always protected and promoted the development of human rights. Yes, Senior Diplomat Wang Yi, said in a speech, over the past 60 years, Xinjiang's economic aggregate has increased by more than 200 times, the per capita GDP has increased nearly 40 times, and the average life expectancy has increased from 30 to 72 years. That all might be true. I don't think it is 100% true, but there's reason to believe that China, generally speaking, has improved the quality of life of most people in their country, because for a lot of people they have, especially in the major metropolitan areas. If you go back 40 years and look at where China was and you look at where it is now, it's night and day. Okay, so when he's saying all this stuff, I don't know if I buy it or not, but I also know that they do have a right to say that, we are able to say that we're pro human rights, and here's why. What you're talking about over here, you don't understand. Oh, by the way, look at our track record for getting people out of poverty, and you need to back off. So, I'm not sure if they will let the UN fully, but there's another angle to this story. Now, this is from the Epoch, I don't know, Times. Leaked emails confirm UN gave names of dissidents to CCP. Now, if this is true, I'm not saying it's the end of the UN, but I think you go back to the Trump administration. And one of the things that he was very keen on was these multinational organizations are not in the US's benefit. Okay, you have that. And then on top of that, you have that would be proven here that how's it in the US's benefit that the UN is supplying dissidents' names to the CCP. Not in the US's benefit, not anyone's benefit, except for the CCP and any thugs around the world who want to take dissidents and recapture them. Okay, so that's the first thing. Second thing is he said that China and other nations would have a disproportional amount of influence. Now, some people might want to blame this on Trump, saying that Trump was, pulling us out of these organizations, promoting our nationalism and all these things. And on some level, that's true. But he was saying this when he ran, so he couldn't have done it all. It couldn't have been all Trump. Some of this is there beforehand. Okay, so here's what it says. This was sent to me by a friend. I asked him. I said, "How trustworthy is this publication?" I see it. I don't know how trustworthy it is. So we're gonna put this in not in 100% category. We're gonna put this in. We're gonna kind of follow this story along to see what actually comes of it. In this email it says the leaked emails prove that contrary to United Nations denials, UN human rights officials did in fact give the names of Chinese dissidents to the communist regime in Beijing before those activists were sent to testify in Geneva against the Communist Chinese Party's abuses. Okay. Now, again, I'm not too sure about this source. I've asked some people. I've gotten mixed results. I don't know. This is the angle. There's two angles I want to follow here. First, will the UN get on their horses and go? Or is this going to be something they drag out for months and months and months and they finally get down there? Will China stall for months and months and months to keep them from coming? So how willing is the UN to go? How thorough is the investigation? And how willing is China to actually have them down there? That's one side. The other side is a story like this. So if you're in the UN, and you're actually leaking these names, that's a faux pas. Like we've got more than we're in trouble. It's criminal in my mind. Just to be clear, it'd be criminal. Now I don't know. Again, I don't know what this news source. So I'm not saying we should take this, run to the hills. I don't know. I've gotten mixed reviews on it. So again, this side, the Epoch Times, whatever it is, we need some more vetting. We need to hear from more news sources to see if this story is right or not. So I want to be very careful how I'm parsing this out. We have very clear information from a lot of nations saying that a lot of things bad are happening. The UN is saying that this happened. China is denying it and welcoming the UN to look into it. We have to see what happens there. And then we have this kind of fringe story, if you will. And again, maybe if you know more about them, let me know in the comments. That makes you wonder, okay, is the UN actually sending out things to help the CCP keep dissidents quietly? I don't know the answer. I don't know. So, two stories. Keep them separate. We'll follow them both. We'll see how it goes. Hit that like button, the subscribe button. Again, if you want more news commentary, thewarroomnewsletter.com, or you can use our promo code in the comments below.